Ilu, Ilu, come and get this for me, darling. My name is Grace. Excuse me? My name is Grace. Child, I was there. Your name is Ilu. Well, I prefer Grace. Why is that? It makes me fit in more. The girls say I'm not American. They say we belong on a reservation. Oh, darling, come here, sit. Let me tell you something. Those girls don't know how American we are. More than them. Because we were here first. Yes, that too. But you weren't just here first. Your blood has helped protect this country. You must understand. Native Americans have done more than people know to help this country. The most American things that can be done. Like what? Let me tell you the story. It must be, let's see, about 50 years by now. World War II had been going on for almost 30 years, and America finally joined. Propaganda was everywhere, and millions of men enlisted in the army. Yet, not nearly as many. They worked the jobs many once had. At that time, they didn't like women being heroes. They also didn't particularly like other races, Spanish, Black, Native American. But this was wartime, so they took what they could get. One school teacher, let's see, his name was Mr. Bates. He enlisted in the army. He must have done something good, because he rose to become a general. Is that the heroic American end? No, honey. This story is just beginning. During the First World War, Americans had trouble sending messages back and forth without interception from their enemies. But they found a solution. They started using it at the end of the war. And so by the Second World War, they were ready to use it this go around. What was the solution? The Choctaw language. Our language. The language is so complex, so beautiful, so foreign. No one could easily understand it. So they would put natives that spoke our language and knew English and put them in different field company headquarters. And many natives did this. But there had to be a first. They needed a native speaker to go to England and interpret the messages. And they needed somewhere to get there fast. There was this one girl, let's call her Diana, who was very smart and very brave. When the general asked our chief for help, she volunteered to go. The general was so desperate, he agreed. So she went across the great big ocean for the very first time to become a code talker in England at one of the headquarters in the middle of a war. She's scared. Very much so.
Are you sure you have everything? Be brave, my daughter. Be strong. We are all counting on you.
Of course, Papa. Of course. So when she arrived, she held her head high and went to work. She was one of the first code talkers there, so she worked somewhat alone. She received messages through the radio and interpreted things such as rendezvous points and supply locations. She was the only girl there, besides some nurses and some wives, and they didn't really like her. They thought she wasn't American, that she didn't belong, but she was proud to do her work. Everything was going well until what? Oh dear, you will have to let me finish. Until a certain woman tried to befriend her.
Hi, I'm Susie, one of the general's wives. You can understand me, right?
I am a Native American code breaker. I take the codes from my language and change it into English.
Oh, my mistake.
Her name was Susie, and she was the general's wife. Diana was happy to have a friend, but there was something off about her. When she had first arrived, Susie had been outright horrible to her. But now, she was suddenly nice. Unlike the other generals' wives, Susie was around the office a lot, and always seemed to linger around the meetings and left right after them. When Susie found out that Diana was a code breaker, she started stopping by on her lunch break, and Susie was very interested in the language.
Diana, I'm so surprised to see you here.
This is where I work. I have always been here.
I just think it is so fascinating what you do. This language is so beautiful. Hey, Diana, it's so nice to see you again. I just wanted to stop by to see how you were doing.
Came here yesterday.
No, the telegram. So could you explain to me the process of what you do?
That is confidential.
Just checking to see if you were still in here. How's work? It's just so wonderful that you came all the way here. Where are you from? You know, I heard that some of the girls didn't like you, and you know what? Don't listen to them. I don't even know, you are just such an amazing woman.
I have not heard any of the girls say that.
Hey, how are you? I didn't even know you were still in here. So, how many telegrams did you get today?
The more friendly Susie was, the more suspicious Diana became. One day, after an emergency meeting with the top generals, Diana was returning to her bunker for the day, and she saw Susie sneaking around the building and decided to follow her. What are you doing out here?
Oh, Diana, I was just going for a walk. What's this?
When she caught her, Susie said she was on a walk, but Diana discovered she was actually handing off a message. On that paper was the location of all the weapons being held in the area. If they would have gotten those weapons, many soldiers would have gone unarmed. That girl inadvertently saved thousands of lives that day. Susie wanted to know what Diana was learning so that she could sell it to our enemies.
How come this isn't told in school?
There are so many stories that aren't told. It doesn't mean they didn't happen. But that doesn't matter. What matters is you know. You know who you are.
Diana was Native American, like us. Was this girl you?
She is all of us.
Hello, just wanted to see how you were.